Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into a classic, Jonathan Livingston's Seagull. We're using Richard Bach's story, the actual text.
Yeah, it's not just, a simple kid's story about a bird. It's digging into some big ideas, pushing boundaries, what society expects, finding your own path, really.
Exactly. And we've got the goods parts 1, 2, and 3 of the book, dedication, all that stuff, even a bit about Bach himself.
Gives us a solid base, yeah. We can really trace Jonathan's whole arc.
So our goal here, for you listening, is to pull out the core themes, that classic conflict, individual ambition versus fitting in, and how learning works, how we progress, maybe even how we break limits we didn't know we had.
We'll follow Jonathan's journey, the ups, the downs, the big aha moments he has, and what he tries to pass on.
Okay, let's jump into part 1. Right off the bat, he's an odd bird out, isn't he? Food isn't his main thing.
Not at all. It's all about flight for him, pure flight. While the others are just squabbling over scraps, he's obsessed with mastering it. Like those tricky slow flight curves or learning to glide super low, streamlining himself. It's pure passion.
He just loves flying. It's not about getting somewhere or getting food. It's the act itself.
That intrinsic motivation idea, it comes from inside him, which, often sparks the real breakthroughs, doesn't it? When you just love the process. Something maybe listeners can relate to in their own lives, their hobbies or work.
But this immediately causes friction, right? With the flock, even his parents. His mom asks him that heartbreaking question, why is it so hard to be like the rest?
And the dad's worried about practical stuff. Winter's coming, you need to eat. You can't eat a glide, he says. Really highlights that pressure to conform, to just fit the mold.
Yeah, that tension between your own drive and what everyone else thinks you should be doing. Ever felt that?
Oh, sure. It makes you think about how any group, define what's valuable. For the flock, flying is just point A to point B for food. Jonathan's passion. It's seen as, well, pointless.
Yeah.
Irresponsible, even.
He tries, though. He tries to be like them for a bit, fighting for fish heads. But
He finds it completely empty. That inner drive is just too strong. He can't fake it.
so, back to the air, back to the experiments. This time, speed.
Yes, pushing the limits, steep dives, hitting 70 miles per hour, and then just tumbling out of control. It's messy.
Real trial and error. Lots of error, actually. Shows that progress isn't clean, right? You got to be willing to crash and burn sometimes. Literally, in his case.
Absolutely. He's pushing against what everyone thinks a seagull can do, and those crashes, being a churning mass of feathers, they show the risk involved. But he keeps analyzing what went wrong. Ugh! Hold the wings still at high speeds.
And boom, 2,000 feet. Holds them steady past 50, then just blurs past 90. A record.
A seagull speed record. Amazing. But then the pullout, he crashes again. It's like one step forward, one tumble back.
And that crash hits him hard. He's despairing, hearing that little voice inside saying, "You're just a seagull. Limited." He almost gives up, almost goes back to the flock for good.
That moment of doubt is so powerful, isn't it? When you absorb the limitations others put on you or the ones you put on yourself. Nearly broke him. Have you ever been there? Right on the edge of quitting.
I think most people have, yeah. But for Jonathan, thankfully, it's temporary. Flying home in the dark, defeated. Then, insight strikes. Short wings, like a falcon. Control at high speed.
That's the turning point. He takes that comparison, meant perhaps as an insult, and turns it into inspiration. Folds his forewings, uses just the tips, dives again.
And this time,
140 miles per hour, under complete control. The sheer joy of smashing through that self-imposed barrier, it's exhilarating just reading it.
and he doesn't just stop there, does he? He keeps pushing. 5,000 feet next.
Hits terminal velocity 214 miles per hour and nearly takes out the entire breakfast flock in the process. A close call.
It shows his total focus, maybe bordering on obsession, but it's about exploring that absolute potential.
And then it shifts again. It's not just speed, it's artistry. Aerobatics, learning to turn on a dime, well, on a feather tip. Loops, rolls, mastering movement itself.
He becomes this aerial artist.
Yeah.
Thinking about skills we develop, there's often that point where it becomes more than just function, right? It feels like art.
Exactly. And filled with this knowledge, this mastery, he goes back to the flock, ready to share.
And the reaction.
Shame,
Yeah.
banishment, reckless irresponsibility, violating tradition, total rejection. It's brutal. How often do groups react that way to someone who steps too far outside the lines?
It's that fear of change, isn't it? His discoveries threaten their whole worldview, their rigid laws.
Yeah,
New ideas can feel dangerous. We see that all the time.
we do. So he's cast out, alone on the far cliffs, But he doesn't crumble.
No, it becomes this period of intense self-discovery. He gets even better, learns to hunt far out, sleep on the wing, fly through fog and storms.
And he has that huge realization. Boredom, fear, and anger. Those are the things that truly limit a gull's life, that shorten it.
Wow, that resonates way beyond seagulls, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Our own fears, our own negativity holding us back.
By letting go of that emotional baggage, the stuff weighing down the flock, he finds a deeper freedom, not just in flight, but in his whole being.
And then, just as he's reaching this peak of solitary mastery, things change again.
2 new gulls appear, radiant, star-bright, and they fly like him, effortlessly matching his most advanced moves.
Signaling something.
Yeah.
More, a higher level.
Exactly. They represent the next step. They understand him without words, and they invite him. Time to go higher, they say. To a new school, to go home.
He's learned what he can in this world, basically.
Seems so, and Jonathan, understanding this is the next step in his learning, accepts. He flies off with them into the darkness, leaving the flock behind.
Which brings us to part 2. His arrival in this new realm. He thinks, so this is heaven.
Right. His body feels different, brighter, flies better with less effort. But then, disappointment. He hits a speed limit again, 273 miles per hour in level flight. And he thinks, wait, shouldn't heaven be limitless?
Even in heaven, his core drive is still there. Push further, break limits. Interesting. And it's not quite a paradise of doing nothing either.
No, he gets tired. His memories of Earth start getting fuzzy, blurred. It suggests this place, whatever it is still about learning, progressing, maybe shedding old attachments as part of that.
He finds other gulls there, though, and they get it. They share his passion for perfecting flight. They practice complex maneuvers, just like he did. He's finally found his tribe, in a way.
He has, and he meets his new teachers, Sullivan and the elder gull, Chang. Sullivan explains how most gulls take lifetimes, countless lives, just to realize there's more than eating and surviving.
And that you sort of choose your next world based on what you learned in this one. That's a big concept.
It is. But then Chiang takes it even further. He tells Jonathan, look, this place, it isn't really heaven. Heaven isn't a place you go to or a point in time. It's a state of being, perfection.
Exactly. Heaven is achieving perfection and perfect speed. That's not a number. It's not miles per hour. It's just being there instantly.
And Chang demonstrates. He vanishes and reappears somewhere else. Teleportation, basically.
Mind-blowing stuff for Jonathan. And Chang explains the key isn't just wanting it or believing it blindly. It's knowing. Knowing you are already there. Transcending space, time, the physical body. It's all about consciousness.
That idea of thought speed travel, it's pretty out there, but maybe metaphorically it's about the power of focus, right?
Yep.
If you truly believe and focus your mind, you can overcome obstacles faster than you thought possible.
Could be. Jonathan struggles, though. He tries so hard, practices like crazy, but can't get it. Chang keeps pushing him. Understand, don't just have faith. It needs to click internally.
And then it does. That moment of pure realization. I am a perfect, unlimited gull.
And poof. He finds himself on a totally different seashore. Twin yellow suns. He did it. His understanding shifted his reality. Incredible.
Yeah.
Chang's like, okay, you got the idea. Now you need control. They work on flying through time, past and future. Crazy concepts.
But the ultimate lesson, the final one Cheng leaves him with, it's about kindness and love. That's the real peak.
That's powerful. It shifts the focus from just individual skill to something connecting him to others. Makes you think, what's the point of breaking limits if it doesn't lead to something like love or connection?
A really deep question. And then Chang, well, he departs. His feathers glow blindingly bright, and his last words are, Jonathan, keep working on love.
Wow, leaving Jonathan with this huge responsibility, this final piece of the puzzle.
And Jonathan starts reflecting, thinking about his old life, the flock. How much more he could have taught them if he knew then what he knows now.
He feels this pull, right, to go back, to be an instructor himself.
Yeah.
Share this truth about being unlimited.
It's that natural progression. You learn, you master, then you feel the urge to teach, to lift others up. Sullivan, his friend there, he's skeptical.
Yeah, Sullivan's like, they won't get it, Jonathan. They're too caught up in their world.
But Jonathan's determined. He argues there might be one or two, like he was, ready to break free. He feels he has to go back. It's his purpose now.
And he reassures Sullivan, their friendship isn't bound by being in the same place. It exists beyond that.
A lovely idea of connection transcending space. And so, holding the image of the Earth flock in his mind, knowing himself as this perfect idea of freedom, he prepares to return.
Setting the stage perfectly for part 3, where we meet a new gull, Fletcher Lynn Seagull.
Yeah, Fletcher. He's young, passionate about flying, and already an outcast. He feels totally wronged by the flock for just wanting to fly differently, for having a bit of fun with it.
Like that little barrel roll around the elder gull.
Yeah.
Got him in big trouble. Reminds you of Jonathan's early days, doesn't it? Ever been punished for thinking outside the box?
Definitely resonates. And Fletcher's feeling angry, rejected, when he hears this gentle voice. It's Jonathan.
Jonathan's first student back on Earth. He advises Fletcher, "Forgive them, let me help you understand."
And the teaching begins. Jonathan, the one-time outcast, is now the mentor. Starts Fletcher with the basics, patiently, and others join in.
6 more outcasts, drawn by curiosity, wanting to fly just for the joy of it.
Jonathan teaches them amazing things. High-performance flying, they get good, really good at the physical stuff, but
They struggle with the why, right? The philosophy behind it. This idea that their bodies are just thought, that they're unlimited. It sounds like, well, nice fantasy to them.
yeah, that's the hard part, isn't it? Shifting the core belief system. It's easier to learn a technique than to truly internalize that you have no limits.
Still, Jonathan decides, okay, time to go back to the main flock.
And the students are understandably nervous. The law, you can't go back if you're an outcast.
But Jonathan just says, we're free to go where we wish and to be what we are. A direct challenge to their whole system.
And then they make their entrance, 8 of them flying in perfect formation, doing incredible stunts right over the council beach where the flock gathers. Talk about making a statement.
It stops the flock cold. Just silence. They're stunned.
But the elder reacts predictably. Fear. He orders the flock. Ignore them. Don't look. Don't speak to them. Anyone who does is outcast too. Trying to maintain control, shut down the disruption.
Jonathan doesn't back down, though. He keeps teaching his students right there, in plain sight, pushing them further. Martin Gull mastering slow flight, Charles Rowland hitting insane altitudes, Fletcher perfecting his rolls and spins.
Their skill is undeniable, and it starts to work. Slowly, curiosity gnaws at the flock. Gulls start sneaking closer at night, hiding, just listening. That deep-down desire for more starts waking up.
And then the first breakthrough from within the flock itself. Terrence Lowell Gull. He steps forward, asks to learn, knowing it means becoming an outcast.
That's a huge crack in the dam, a brave move. And right after him comes Kirk Maynard Gull. He's got a bad wing, can barely fly, but his desire is overwhelming.
And Jonathan just tells him, Kirk Maynard Gull, you have the freedom to be yourself, fly. Just like that. And Kirk heals instantly, spreads his wings perfectly whole, and flies.
Whoa, that must have sent shockwaves through the flock. You bet. The next day, hundreds are gathered, not hiding anymore, openly listening as Jonathan delivers his core message. Freedom is your nature. Set aside anything that limits you, especially tradition for tradition's sake.
He's directly challenging their most sacred rules. Someone even asks, does that mean the law of the flock too?
And Jonathan's answer is clear. The only true law is that which leads to freedom. He also pushes back against the idea that he or his students are somehow special or divine. No, he insists, the only difference is they understand and practice their true nature.
But you know how people react to stuff like this? Some start to almost worship Jonathan. Others despise him, call him dangerous. Rumors fly, maybe he's a god, maybe he's a devil.
Typical reaction to challenging the status quo, isn't it? And then things get really dramatic. Fletcher's accident.
Oh yeah, the crash. Flying incredibly fast, showing off maybe, and slams right into a cliff. Looks fatal.
But Fletcher finds himself somewhere else, another level of consciousness, and Jonathan's there, explaining it's just a change in thought, not an end.
And Fletcher chooses to come back.
He does. He wants to keep teaching, and he reappears right there at the bottom of the cliff, in front of everyone, alive, unharmed.
That must have freaked them out.
Totally. Cries of devil, stone him. The mob gets ugly.
But Jonathan and Fletcher just relocate.
Instantly, half a mile away, showing their mastery again. And Jonathan asks that key question, looking back at the fearful mob, Fletcher, why is it? Why is it the hardest thing in the world to convince a bird that he is free? Gets right to the heart of it all.
And Fletcher starts to really get it now, doesn't he? Especially the part about love. Seeing the good even in the gulls who wanted to hurt him.
That's his big step forward. Understanding that love and forgiveness are part of this freedom, and Jonathan sees Fletcher is ready.
Ready to take over.
Yeah. Jonathan suggests there are other flocks needing help, and Fletcher's the one to lead now. His final advice: don't let them make you a god. Understand your own unlimited nature.
And then Jonathan just disappears, vanishes into thin air.
Just like Ting did. His work there is done. He trusts Fletcher to carry the torch.
And Fletcher steps up, starts teaching the next group, echoing Jonathan's message. You are unlimited. It's all in your thought.
And Fletcher has his own realization then. Jonathan wasn't divine. He was just a seagull who understood. Like Fletcher himself is beginning to understand.
The ending is great. Fletcher thinking someday he'll show Jonathan a thing or two about flying.
Yeah.
And feeling that love for his own students. The journey continues.
It does. And knowing Richard Bach was a pilot himself, you feel that authenticity, that passion for flight just leaping off the page. The photography often included just adds to that feeling too.
So wrapping this up, what are the big takeaways for us, for the listener? I mean, Jonathan's story really hammers home pursuing your passion, right? Even when everyone else thinks you're crazy.
Absolutely. And that learning never stops. It's about constantly pushing, breaking those limits we set for ourselves or the ones society sets, and how opening up your perspective can lead to massive growth.
It definitely encourages you to question the status quo in your own life, doesn't it? To aim for your own kind of excellence. That real freedom comes from understanding your potential.
Exactly. Freedom isn't just physical, it's mental. It's believing in your own unlimited nature.
And for you listening, especially if you like getting insights quickly but deeply, Jonathan's laser focus, his dedication, and how he finally grasps these deeper truths. It really shows the power of just sticking with it, believing in yourself.
So maybe a final thought to chew on. What flock, what set of expectations or norms are you part of right now? And are there any flights, any passions or potentials calling to you that feel, well, a bit outside the norm?
Yeah. What limitations, maybe ones you just assumed were real, might you be ready to start questioning in your own life? Good stuff to think about.